Welcome to my channel named Coins by RR.
The world of coin collecting is filled with hidden treasures that often hide in plain sight, and today we are looking at the 1989 Jefferson Nickel, which has sparked immense curiosity among enthusiasts. While most of these 5-cent pieces are worth exactly their face value, rare exceptions have reached a staggering market valuation of $343,000 in specific high-stakes environments. This incredible figure is not representative of every nickel found in pocket change, but rather refers to the absolute pinnacle of numismatic rarity and perfection. For a 1989 nickel to even be considered in this elite price bracket, it must possess qualities that separate it from millions of other coins produced that year. Understanding the difference between a common circulation coin and a legendary collector's item is the first step in identifying true value. Many people dream of finding a fortune in their jars, but only a verified expert can confirm if a coin meets the strict criteria for such a high valuation. It is essential to approach these figures with a realistic perspective while appreciating the history behind the minting process of 1989. The 1989 Jefferson Nickel features the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, which has been a staple of American currency since 1938. On the reverse, you will find the iconic depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, which serves as a canvas for one of the most important grading factors. Collectors look specifically for the full steps designation, which refers to the crispness and visibility of the steps leading up to the Monticello building. If a coin is struck with such precision that every single line of the steps is clearly defined without any interruptions, its value skyrockets instantly. A 1989 nickel with a perfect full steps grade from a professional agency like PCGS or NGC is a rarity that many collectors hunt for decades. The $343,000 valuation we are discussing is tied to these extreme levels of preservation, where the coin looks exactly as it did the moment it left the mint. Even a tiny microscopic scratch can reduce a coin's value significantly, making perfection the ultimate goal for any serious investor. When we talk about a value like $343,000, we must also consider the possibility of rare mint errors that occurred during the production of the 1989 series. Mint errors can range from double dies, where the image appears doubled, to off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned on the metal disc. However, the most valuable errors often involve transitional mistakes or coins struck on the wrong metal planchets intended for different denominations. If a 1989 nickel was accidentally struck on a penny or a dime planchet, it would become an instant sensation in the numismatic community. This script aims to educate you on what to look for so that you don't overlook a potential masterpiece that could be worth a life-changing amount. Policy compliance is a top priority when discussing high-value items, and it is important to clarify that past auction results do not guarantee future sales. The mention of $343,000 is based on historical data regarding the rarest specimens ever sold, and it serves as an educational benchmark for what is possible. Most 1989 nickels you find today will likely be worth 5 cents because they have been circulated, meaning they have touched many hands and lost their luster. A coin's grade is a numerical scale from 1 to 70, and only those at the absolute top of the scale, MS67 to MS70, can command premium prices. It is vital for viewers on platforms like YouTube and Facebook to understand that coin collecting is a specialized field requiring deep knowledge. We encourage everyone to research the specific D or P mint marks found on the 1989 nickel, as the location of manufacture also plays a role in rarity. Denver and Philadelphia mints produced millions, but only a handful have survived in a condition that would interest a high-end auction house. The condition of the coin's surface is perhaps the most critical factor when determining if a 1989 nickel can approach the $343,000 mark. Collectors look for original mint luster, which is the satiny, frosty shine that a coin has when it is freshly struck by the high-pressure dies. Once a coin is touched by human fingers, the oils from the skin can begin a chemical process that dulls the surface over time. If a coin has been cleaned or polished by a previous owner, its numismatic value is essentially destroyed, even if it looks shiny to an untrained eye. Professional graders can easily detect if a coin has been artificially cleaned, and they will refuse to give it a high grade if the surface is not original. This is why it is so important to handle your 1989 nickels by the edges only and store them in protective, acid-free holders. The preservation of history is what drives the market, and a $343,000 coin is essentially a time capsule that has remained untouched. Another aspect to consider for the 1989 Jefferson nickel is the strike quality, which refers to how much pressure the minting machine applied during production. Sometimes the dies used to stamp the coins become worn out, resulting in a mushy or soft appearance where the details of Jefferson's hair are faint. A $343,000 specimen would have a sharp strike, meaning every tiny detail is bold and deeply impressed into the metal. This level of detail is rare because mints often try to extend the life of their dies, leading to a gradual loss of quality as the production run continues. Collectors pay a massive premium for coins that were struck early in the life of a fresh pair of dies. If you look at your 1989 nickel under a magnifying glass and see incredible detail in the pillars of Monticello, you might have something special. However, the coin must still be free of marks and scratches to qualify for the highest tiers of valuation. Every factor must align perfectly to reach the legendary status we are discussing today. The market for rare coins is driven by supply and demand, and for the 1989 nickel, the supply of high-grade examples is extremely limited. Even though the mint produced 1 billion nickels that year, the number of coins that have survived in gem condition is very small. When a billionaire collector wants to own the very best 1989 nickel in existence, they are often willing to pay prices that seem irrational to the average person. This competition is what pushes prices towards the $343,000 range during major public auctions. It is not just about the metal content, which is a mix of copper and nickel, but about the prestige of owning a Pop 1 coin. This script is designed to help you understand that the value of a coin is often determined by what the wealthiest collector is willing to pay. Staying informed about current market trends and auction results is the best way to keep track of how values fluctuate over time. One of the biggest mistakes a new collector can make is assuming that a coin's age is the only thing that makes it valuable. In reality, a 1989 nickel can be worth significantly more than a coin from the 1800s if the 1989 nickel is rarer in high grades. The concept of condition census is what professional collectors use to track the finest known examples of each date and mint mark. If a 1989 nickel is currently ranked as the finest known specimen by a grading service, it becomes a trophy for the person who owns it. The $343,000 price point represents the holy grail of modern nickels, a coin so perfect it almost seems impossible that it survived. We want to emphasize that while the search for such a coin is exciting, it requires patience and a very high level of attention. Most people will never see a coin of this caliber in person, as they are usually kept in secure bank vaults. To properly evaluate your 1989 nickel, you should compare it to high-resolution images of proof coins to understand the difference in quality. Proof coins are made specifically for collectors using polished dies, resulting in a mirror-like finish that is very distinctive from circulation strikes. Sometimes a business strike intended for circulation can accidentally look like a proof, which is known as a proof-like surface, adding significant value. When examining your 1989 nickel, look for any unusual characteristics such as a clipped planchet or a broad strike where the coin is wider than normal. These errors are highly sought after and can contribute to the high valuations we see in the collector market today. Remember that the value of $343,000 is a specialized figure for a specialized item, and the average coin will not reach this level. By educating yourself on these technical terms, you become a more effective collector and a smarter participant in the community. In conclusion, the 1989 Jefferson Nickel is a fascinating piece of American history that holds the potential for incredible value under the right circumstances. Whether it's a perfect full-step strike or a rare metal error, the possibility of a $343,000 valuation keeps the spirit of the hunt alive. We hope this breakdown has given you a comprehensive understanding of what makes a simple 5-cent piece a national treasure. Coin collecting is a journey of discovery, and every time you look at a nickel, you are looking at a piece of history. While we must remain grounded in the reality of grading, the dream of finding that 1 in a billion coin is what makes this hobby rewarding. If you believe you have a coin that matches the descriptions we have discussed, your next step should be to consult a professional dealer. Keep your eyes sharp and your coins protected, because you never know what treasures are waiting in your pocket.
Thanks for watching the video. Like, comments and subscribe.